Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, Jenny. Somebody's trying to sabotage me because my notes did not come through, but it's okay. It's quite all right.
Well, you don't usually have any notes because you never do much research anyway. So how is today any different from yesterday and the day before?
All I know is it feels very sabotagey by someone.
Well, then you got something in common
Shannon.
with Bill Belichick.
I'm sure we'll address it later on in the show. Shannon, I wish you all the luck in the world. This might be hard for you, but we are going to start with everything taking place in Green Bay because Breatt Favre believes Aaron Rodgers will end up finishing his career outside of Green Bay. Favre said the Packers burned the bridge to Rodgers when they traded up to draft quarterback Jordan Love in the first round. So, Shannon, is Favre right about all of this?
Well, Skip, we talked about this on Monday. Actually, we talked about it on Friday because the draft was Thursday night. And when they traded up, I said they have Aaron Rodgers' undivided attention because he was in a very similar situation. They drafted him. Now, he fell into their laps when they had Breatt Favre on the roster. And so he understands. And he's looking at it kind of like Breatt looked at it. Breatt looked at when they drafted Aaron Rodgers, how does a quarterback help us win immediately? That's for the future. So in other words, you're telling me you feel better going forward in the future with him than you do me. Aaron Rodgers looks at it the very same way, Skip. He's like, oh, okay, I see how y'all guys doing it. And, they gave you this. And Brian McGuinn talked about it yesterday, Skip. In his article, he said it was about the running game. Nah, Skip, this ain't about no running game. You could have anybody. You could have anything other than a wide receiver or tight end or replacing the offensive lineman that they lost to the Chargers. Aaron Rodgers was going to be viewed as a slight. And especially, he's looking at like, all I have is Devontae Adams, really. And you've really never given me a first-round draft pick at the receiver position. And so he's looking at it like, man. And Skip, this is why I always tell people that's close to me, family members, when you say something, what do people, Skip, even though Breatt says, yeah, I spoke to him, I'm not going to get into depth about what we talked about. This is just my gut feeling. What is everybody assuming first thing Thursday morning? Who said everything Breatt Favre is regurgitating? One, Aaron Rodgers. Now, they made a situation, they talk about Aaron Rodgers and how quirky he is and his mannerism. Oh, it's about to get real uncomfortable, Skip. As T.O. would say, get your popcorn ready. Skip, get your popcorn ready because it's about to get real bumpy over the next 2 years. And I don't believe they can do anything with Aaron for the first 2 years because that contract kind of makes him untradeable and very uncuttable. But after 2 years, it becomes palatable for them to move on in a different direction. And if they do decide to move in a different direction, Skip, we just saw Tom Brady pack his bag and head south. We saw Joe Montana do it. We saw Emmitt Smith do it. We saw Jerry Rice do it. So he will not be the first great player if he wants to continue playing. And Skip, you remember about right after the season, he says, I'm on the 18th fairway or something like the 18th green or something like that. All of a sudden, Skip, he's playing backwards. Aaron Rodgers is going to play until his 40s because he wants to do exactly what Tom Brady did. He wants to show them, that wanted to move in a different direction without him, I can still play, and I can play at a high level. The only difference between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, it would not shock me that Aaron stayed somewhere very close so he could see the Packers on a regular occurrence. He wants to stick it to them because he feels slighted because of what they did. And so I'm not surprised he feels this way. I've always said this, Skip. I believe the quarterbacks, I know this to be true, have the biggest egos. They do the best job of hiding it until they feel very, very threatened, and then they can't control it anymore.
Okay, my turn. First of all, I have to comment on what's happening right before our very eyes, my widening eyes. Wait a second. Breatt Favre is speaking for Aaron Rodgers? Look, I know we're all going through things we've never been through in our lives. Everything seems upside down. I know in our household, where I'm speaking from right now, I can't believe I'm doing Undisputed from up here in my loft at the house in which Ernestine and Hazel and I share. And yet, it makes everything out in the world feel wrong. It's everything's upside down. Day is night, night is day. And all of a sudden, Breatt Favre, who had no use for Aaron Rodgers, those two reportedly didn't speak to each other for years. All of a sudden, not only have they mended fences and made peace, but wait a second. Now, Breatt Favre is Aaron's big brother. He's become his confidant. He's become his PR director and spokesman. Wait. No, I can't wrap my mind around this. And to your point, you're right. He kept indicating to Rich Eisen in the interview, I did speak to Aaron about this. I don't want to speak for him, but I'll just tell you this much. Bam, 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 bam. And you're like, yeah, I think he's spilling all the beans all over the airwaves. Yeah. And I think we're talking about it because Breatt Favre spoke for Aaron Rodgers. The bridge is burned. He wants out. Don't be surprised if now he wants to go somewhere else. Well, again, none of this is shocking to me, but here's the ultimate irony of this and the reality of it. In the end, Shannon, I still think Breatt has now lost all objectivity on Aaron because they're like become brothers from another mother. Mm-hmm. And now Breatt doesn't see the forest for the trees. Again, yes, the bridge is burned to the ground, but he's putting it in the context of Green Bay, you just screwed up. You just made a huge mistake. You just stepped in it, Packers. You blew this one. No, Breatt, you don't get it. You're looking at it upside down. They intended to burn the bridge to the ground. They set it on fire. They're not going to rush to put it out. No, they're pouring gasoline on the fire under the bridge as it burns to the ground. Because we talked about this. We talked about the Bob McGinn article. Matt LaFleur, after 1 year with Aaron Rodgers, is sick and tired of his act, his diva act, all that goes with Aaron Rodgers, all the blame deflecting, finger pointing, all the passive-aggressive behavior via interviews and social media. They're sick and tired of it. Gutekunst, the fairly new GM, and LaFleur, the 1 year head coach. And Shannon, this was their design. This is what they wanted to happen. And they are going to slowly push Aaron Rodgers away by doing one of two things. In order, they drafted A.J. Dillon in the second round, and there was a report in the Milwaukee Sentinel Journal Sentinel, that said that they want to now hammer the rock next year. They want A.J. Dillon, who was high carries. He was averaging around 300 carries a year at Boston College. 250 pounds, ran 4.5 at the combine, Derrick Henry-esque. They're going to take the ball out of Aaron's hands the next year or two and try to run it the way the Tennessee Titans did down the stretch as they made their big playoff splash last year. And then, number two, they want to slowly but surely replace Aaron Rodgers with the kid they took late in the first round, traded up to take, Jordan Love. So again, Brett's acting like, uh-oh, you guys blew this. No, they're right on schedule. And again, if they're wrong about Jordan Love, then they're dead wrong. They better be as right about Jordan Love as Ted Thompson was about Aaron Rodgers. Yes, if they're right about that, then bully for them. But the bridge was burned by the Packers on purpose, intentionally. Breatt Favre, you don't get it.
Skip, if they're wrong about this, they're about to have a gap like they had between Bart Starr and Breatt Favre. That's what's going to happen. It's almost like a Dan Marino situation. When he retired in 2000, it wasn't until 2020 they finally think they have his adequate replacement. And they've had how many different quarterbacks in Miami? Skip, and we're going to talk about this a little later. There's a very similar situation that's going on north. That's in the Eagles. That's in a very, very similar situation because of what transpired. Now, we get that Aaron Rodgers is, 36, 37 years of age. Carson Wentz is only 27 years of age. Skip, I think the thing is for Aaron Rodgers now is that he realized, and even Brett, Skip, sometimes time